Hi, my name is Rick Davenport, and I'm a teaching member of a group called Steadfast Fathers. Collectively, we have a heart for men, and we like to come beside them and help them become the fathers they were meant to be as we navigate this thing called life, this journey that we're on together. And so today I intend to share a talk with you really about how to create a personal mission statement. And let's first talk about why we would create a personal mission statement. It's really our roadmap. It's our game plan, if you will. It's really a target in regards to who we were meant to be. And we have a member of our team. He's referred to as a professional storyteller. His name is Tony Agnesi. He's published multiple books, but Tony has a statement that goes something like the three me's: the who I was, the who I am, and the who I'm meant to be. And if you think about that, there are those three attributes. I think so oftentimes we can get caught up in our past. We can think about decisions we've made, perhaps past regrets, things that may have put us in a bad spot, things that had negative consequences. But think about a car. Think about the fact that you have a rear view mirror, but you also have a windshield. And the size of the rear view mirror is significantly smaller than that of the windshield. And can you imagine trying to drive down the road and just focusing on the rear view mirror? One, not only would it be incredibly unsafe, but you'd also miss everything that's in front of you. And I think the same can be true of our life, that we can spend so much time looking in the rear view mirror that life passes us by. Everything that we could see through the windshield, through what's in front of us, we miss that. We miss that because we're paralyzed and we're caught up in our past. And you know, the same thing can be true of our present. And sometimes we can say, you know what? This is my lot in life. I've made my bed, now I need to lie in it. This is what I deserve. And there's no question that life has consequences. There are consequences to those decisions we make. But as far as our future and our ability to dream and chart a course for something better, that's always possible. And so really that's what I want to focus on, is how do we look through the windshield? How do we not get caught up in the past? How do we not get caught up in the present? But let's figure out who it is we are meant to be, and then ultimately chart a course as to how we're going to get there. This is going to be a very interactive teaching session, so I'm going to ask you to do a couple things. First of all, grab a pen and paper, and I'm going to ask you to do some writing. There's some incredible power in capturing our thoughts and actually writing them down. And then second, I want you to be comfortable with pausing the video, because I'm going to ask you to do things, and I want you to slow down, take your time, really think through the exercise, invest the time. The more time you put into the exercise, the richer it will be, and the easier this process will work for you. So, sound okay? So hopefully you're ready. So the first thing I want you to do now with your pencil and paper is to write down or list 3 personal strengths. These could be things that you know about yourself or others tell you about yourself. But again, capture 3 things that you would say are personal strengths of yours. I'll stop briefly and you can pause the video if you need to. Okay, next, I want you to name a fictional character you admire and why. And the fictional character or who you select isn't as important as to the why. And I've heard everybody from Iron Man to Gandalf. And again, whether this is a character out of a book, out of a movie, comic book, whatever it might be, again, identify who you admire, what the character is, and what are the attributes of that character that lead you to the why. Why would you name that character as someone that you admire? So go ahead and take a second to write that down. Okay, next, what I'd like you to do is think of a man or men in your life who you consider to be a good man. This could be a father, a brother, a friend, a teacher, a coach, just men in your life. And then ultimately, what characteristics of those individuals lead you to categorize these men as good? Write down as many as you think of. Just brainstorm that. But then take the time to stop and go back and circle the three most significant characteristics, the ones that are the most important to you, that you've written down in that longer list of attributes in regards to what does it mean to be a good man. So go ahead and take time to do that and pause the video again if you need to. Okay, at this point you should have three things. First, you should have a list of three personal strengths that you've captured, a fictional character that you've identified, who you admire and why. And then last, the three characteristics that you just circled in that list of attributes of men who have been in your life who you would consider good men. Let me share my screen real quickly and I'll take you back through that. Okay, so I want you to write three statements related to who you want to be. Move this real quick so you can see who you want to become, who you're meant to be. And use I am or I will statements, positive statements of affirmation when you write your declaration of who you want to be. And I'll share my personal mission statement a little bit later in this presentation. But if you start each of your statements with either a phrase of I am or I will, and then again, think about it, think about the windshield, think about that future view, think about that person you are meant to be, and write those statements of declaration. Don't get caught up in who you are today. This is a to be statement. This is a future state. This is the person that you want to become. If you need to pause the video, you're fine to do that. Then what I want you to do is, in these different areas of your life, I want you to consider writing a statement or two for each of these areas. So, family. Who is it you're meant to be with your family or for your family? In the workplace or your vocation, the same thing. What is it you want to be? Who is it you are meant to be? Financially, spiritually, and physically. And so take some time. You might pause the video for 10, 15 minutes here, and that's okay. But take time to write one or two statements for each of these areas of your life, as well as what I said before, the three statements of an overall statement of who it is you want to be. Okay, you've most likely seen some type of pattern start to form in your statements, and what you value and what you desire to become, who you are meant to be. And these patterns start to create that roadmap, that personal mission statement of who you want to become, who you're meant to be. And so look for that as you write, as you look at those two statements you wrote for those different areas of your life, as well as the three overarching statements, the characteristics you admire in good men, back to your character that you admire and why, and also just your own personal strengths. So I'm going to go ahead and share my personal mission statement. Now, keep in mind that this is something I've constructed over time and continue to make changes as I continue down the path of life. You'll notice, and it'll be pretty obvious, that my faith and my relationship with my Creator is incredibly important to me. So let me share with you my living document. I was going to say it's not an end state. It is a living document, a declaration of who I believe I am meant to be. I am a child of God, loved and forgiven beyond measure. I will live my life for Him by loving and serving others. I will use my God-given gifts and abilities to serve and lead my family and others. I'll listen and use my skills of leadership and facilitation to connect with, love, and assist others in this journey we call life. Through my obedience to God and listening to the promptings of the Holy Spirit, I will serve as an example for others. I will be courageous, no longer a slave to fear, in stepping out of my comfort zone to do His will. My body and my mind are a temple. I will treat them accordingly. I will seek God through worship, study, and meditation. I will eat healthy and exercise on a regular basis. I will worship God, love people, and reflect Christ in all that I do. So you asked the question, what's next? You know, at this point, you've got enough to get started. Again, this is a journey. So take all your thoughts and start to write a draft of similar to what I've just shared with you. Use declarative, affirming statements of I will and I am, ultimately keeping in mind who it is you are meant to be. So once you've got that draft and once you're massaging that, so to speak, read your personal mission statement at least once a day, twice a day if you can, at the start and the end of the day. I know when I read it, I have a much greater chance of living into it during the course of the day. Again, this isn't a statement of who I am. It's who I'm meant to be. It's a future state. And so we're constantly growing and striving to reach that state. As I affirm that by reading this every morning, I set myself up for success. As I read it at the close of the day, I can look back on the day and say, am I closer to or further from the person that I'm meant to be? Take the time, invest in it. It doesn't take long. As you can see, I can read through that in less than a minute. Take that time to invest in yourself. Next, create a vision board. Some folks have found this really helpful. They go out and they find pictures. They find pictures that capture the spirit of who they're meant to be. And so it gives them a pictorial depiction of that future state of who they're meant to be. And they can post that somewhere. So again, it's just one more reminder of who we're meant to be and provides a greater focus for us to pursue that path that we have said we want to walk down. And last, share your personal mission statement with someone close to you. Just as there is power in writing this down, there's incredible power in sharing it with someone as well. Once you write it down, you feel a level of commitment. Once you share it with someone else, there's another level of commitment. And so you feel obligated to yourself and to others to follow through on what it is you said you wanted to do, who you say you were meant to be, and how you intend to get there. So the journey continues. You can see it's a living document. You'll write a draft. You'll rewrite the draft. Once you get to a point where you're comfortable with it and you want to share it, I would suggest that every 6 to 12 months, you sort of peel it apart and say, how am I doing? What's happened in my life? Are there areas that I think I need to change? And then ultimately go back and modify those, rewrite it. And now you have a recalibrated, if you will, roadmap for your life. So the materials I've shared with you today are part of a larger program. It's an organization that I work with called TPUCU. It's an acronym that stands for The Only Person You Cheat Is You. And it is a personal transformation program in which this personal mission statement is foundational to then setting goals in those different areas of your life. Those 6 areas that I pointed out are part of that conversation, to where you can go back then and say a declaration of this is who I'm meant to be. And then you start to peel it back a little bit further and say, okay, now how am I going to get there? If you'd like to look at the program further, you can look at it at tpucu.com. You can look at some of the testimonies of the folks that we've had that have actually completed the course and ultimately get a deeper understanding of the program. So I hope you found this material to be helpful. best of luck as you begin to chart your course, as you begin to construct your roadmap, as you begin to discover who it is that you're meant to be. Just remember, focus on the windshield, not on the rearview mirror. Blessings.